everybody, it's Rob with Signway Specialties, and it has been so much time. But not to worry, I have updates, I have new projects. So, what we're going to get into in this video is an outline of what's to come. So, I'm planning on 3 videos per month, about 8 or 9 months worth of videos. I've got 4 already done. Yes, the tachometer one will be in there because that has seemed to be quite the interest for a lot of people when it came to the comments. Everybody had something crazy they wanted to hook a tachometer to, or figure out the signal they got in their own vehicle and how they could implement that to a tach that they had bought, or why a cluster didn't work. We'll get into that. So, a little bit of an update. School is done. I am out now, dual major, electrical and mechanical, and the biggest thing that I got to bring to the table is when you go to your company, it's not going to be all fun and games. So I'm with nuclear right now as a nuclear engineer, and there is like no room to get anything done quick. So when you get in there, realize that you got to procure everything, you got to find funding. You can't start any projects unless 50 people say it's okay. There is requisitions that have to be done, task authorizations that have to be done. Everything requires some kind of hurdle to jump over all the time. So, in order to get my fill of engineering fun, we're going to do it on video, and I've already spent $4,000 on everything for us to do it. So, let's take a little bit of a tour on what's actually going on, and I'll do a little bit of overspeak on some of the equipment. I just kind of ran through and, ran the camera past everything that we got going on with a little bit of an explanation of why I have it. So, welcome back. Hopefully, this time it's a little bit more interesting. We're going to kind of bring the industrial side to the consumer, and I'm talking like your garage guys. Not talking about, oh, well, how do we put a nice stereo on a big yacht? Well, that's not very common. So, I'm going to show you how to use high-tech equipment to get very good industry level results. Stay tuned, here we go. Alright guys, so check it out. We've got ourselves some monster 34-inch ultra-wide LGs. I think these are QL and WL 500s. I would have had both WLs, but they didn't have the model in stock again. But this is what we're going to be using to do all of our editing, all of our programming, anything that has to be done in Excel. I'm trying to start a Discord right now so that some of the stuff you're going to see in a second here I can transfer to you if you have the same equipment. We are still rocking the apartment because, the market's garbage. There's nothing to actually buy, but that's okay. So let's check out some of the stuff that you saw earlier and give a little bit of context. There's the meter that we did a video on before, and now has the IR 3000 on it. Works pretty good if you're getting close to something like a switchgear or a high voltage box, something over 4160. It keeps you out of the flash zone, and yes, this moves just as quickly, or this does, as the phone app does. And no, you don't got to pay for it, but if you data log, you will have to pay for it. So we got a 3-phase brushless DC motor, signal, power, 3-phase lines. This is what we're going to show you: power factor correction and motor timing. This is the same thing that's in your vehicle, but it's hard to bring a vehicle in here now and own an EV except this one. So this is what we're going to run a simulated dyno on, and we're going to pull all 3 phases and the signal type and the battery voltage all at the same time. How are we going to do that with a meter? We're not going to do it with a meter. We're going to do it with the scope that I just picked up. This is the MSO 5104 Rigol. And yes, I cheaped out. I went and got the license. It's about 270 bucks through TE Equipment online for a 2-channel waveform generator with 4 channels on here. The logic setup is active. The waveform generator is active. I just don't have the cable for this. Eventually I will get it. It's $400. If somebody knows a better option or knows what this header type is, so that I can just buy the ribbon cable and set my own switches on a proto board, that would be real nice. We're going to get into high-speed switching. No more relays. We have some relays, but we're not going to use those for high speed. We're going to use these because these will go up to 1 megahertz. This is NPN, this is PNP. There's your gauge. We will be actuating this gauge. We will be hooking it to a system that we're going to build with all these little proto boards that I got in here that will allow any vehicle to trigger this gauge. We will isolate the signal side from the actual reading side so that your direct input into the gauge does not affect whether or not it's compatible. We have a ton of test leads for it. This is 36 inch wide, 25 inch tall, 6 inches deep. This gives us all our voltages, and we're going to run all of these voltages and all these controls on here. Once we get our last module, we have a baseboard that needs to mount up for the PLC, ta-da, that we now have to mess with. This is the EA9 10WCL ultra-wide touchscreen monitor. Just as a quick sneak peek, I'm not going to go into detail because I don't know what the rules are on YouTube, but we'll say this is like a building plan. Those white dots are motion detection. They turn red when something is in front of them. The green bars will turn red when the doors are locked. Green means the doors are unlocked. And well, things happen when you push the buttons. You know, there's a lot of political craziness going on right now. I figured I'd show you how to go off the grid and be able to do this just off your vehicle battery alone. Will run an entire security system. More on that later. This is the Productivity 2000 system. I ordered this in February. The only thing I'm waiting for, today is the 18th of August. Tomorrow is when they're supposed to ship the last part. So, what the part that we're waiting on right now is a baseboard, because these connect through the rear. If you've ever dealt with the Productivity series ones, the Productivity 1000s had a header right here. And what you could do was you could put them up next to each other, and then they would snap together, and then these all mounted on a DIN rail. Well, this one has a back plate, and that's what that one requires. So what we got going on here is PWM here, PWM here, so we have 8 channels of high-speed switching. We have an input module for 32 points of source or sync. We'll go over signal types in the next video. And then we got one for output. This is a syncing output. That means ground trigger. This one is going to be our analog input. And what this is going to do is this is going to receive a signal, and it is going to analyze it and scale it. That will also be in the signaling video that's coming next. That should be done middle of next week. This one is just a filler, but I have an analog signal card that puts out 16 outputs that will replace this filler module, and then we have a switch module. So we don't have to wire switches every time. We have 8 options to just, program the switch to operate with it. So this will be our control system for almost every video that we do and data logging that we do. And then obviously that will get mounted right here on the back end side from about right there to right there. And then that's how we're going to sit there and run our equipment. So what we'll be doing for projects, for a quick overview, is we'll be getting into ultrasonics, we'll be getting into motor tuning, brushless systems, 3-phase systems, we'll be getting into high-speed switching, making our own custom controls for tachometers, which we will even do one for EVs. I know it sounds ridiculous, but we're going to do it anyway. We have a tri-tune coming up when the season is over. Like I said, it's August, we got a little while. This will be for an amp rack. It'll be a punch amplifier and 2 power series Fosgates. This is how we're going to sit here and simulate EV dyno capabilities and motor analytics. We will use this to show pulse width modulation and pulse width Pulse width will come into another video as well for fuel injection and multi-spark. And when I say multi-spark, I don't mean more than one spark plug per cylinder. I mean multi-spark as in 3 sparks per power stroke. So if you're 1 degree behind top dead center, we will do a spark, 1 at top dead center, and then 1 a couple degrees after top dead center. And just for funsies, the reason why I'm even thinking of doing that in the first place is because I want to show you how you would have to use your current ignition system to run hydrogen. And no, I'm not joking. This is not a sponsored video. You can obviously tell from how many subscribers I have that there's no way anybody is going to sponsor shit on this channel. And I don't even have enough views to even start advertising. So eventually, if it gets out of control, I'll probably start a Patreon or sell programs or pre-programmed PLCs. And then obviously with today's technology, you can literally just be online and FaceTime them through the process. It's really not that hard, guys. And we're going to try to make that very, very easily known when we get into these videos. So with everything that we're doing with EV testing, home security systems and bunker lockdown systems, PLCs and automation, pulse width control, we'll even be doing backup cameras from General Motors, because if you look at the backup cameras on them, you cannot just wire 12 volts to them. It requires a pulse width signal at a given carrier frequency, which will also be demonstrated in the next video for signal types. And I will show you how all of that stuff works. I don't get my fill at work, so I'm going to get my fill online. Make your jokes where you think you should. But that is how the rest of the next couple months is going to go. And I am actively on 3 videos right now, trying to get them edited out so I can get them to you faster than what I said before, which was 3 videos per month, because it would be nice if they were out and ready to go. So once those are up and running and everything is going good, I will post them videos up. There's one already being edited right there, and we should be on track. Hope you guys are interested in what you're about to see, and we'll see you soon. You guys are aware there's going to be a couple video clips at the end. Those will show you a little bit of what I did with the PWM settings and the automation, so go ahead and look at those. I think it's like maybe 30 seconds long, but it shows a little bit about pulse width control. So check those out, and see you in a couple weeks or less.